Okay. All right. Well, I'm here today in the second of our interviews, anniversary interviews, and Cherry is our longest standing VA. She has been with Virtual Elves now for 8 years. It's ridiculous. And yeah, so for 8 years, and Cherry was the very, very first VA that I ever hired into the business. When I realized that I couldn't do everything myself. And I found Cherry on a platform called Odesk at the time. And I don't know what it was, Cherry, about what drew me to you, and likewise, I think we both just had a bit of we're looking for something with a little bit of purpose, and I think we both believed in each other at that point, and we were both learning. And so for me, it was just a really interesting engagement from the very beginning, and we've continued that and built on it, and we've grown from that, but we'll talk about that a bit later. So everybody wants to know, who is Cherry Bonachita? Tell us.
Okay, sure. I'm Cherry, and I have 3 kids. And I think one of the things that made me attracted to Kristy when we first started working is that I am type that does not end the day without finishing the task. And also, I've seen that just as Kristy was very diligent in trying to please the clients, I'm also doing it to her. So I'm the type that is very customer service oriented. So that's why I'm here, and I'm very loyal, as you can see, 8 years. I don't want to hop from one place to another. And so, yeah, that's me.
Yeah. And, that's what I love, is the loyalty. That's, and I think that's one of the values of the business as well, is loyalty and trust and, all of that. And we're really lucky that, I guess, we've been in a position where you've been able to withhold that. So tell us about where you live in the Philippines. Describe your town to us. Describe your sort of what you do on a daily basis.
Okay, sure. So I live in Cebu City. That's the second largest city in the Philippines, and I live in a subdivision. It's where most middle class live, and it's I live in our own house with my husband, and again 3 kids. We just live on our own. We're not in an extended family or some sort, although we love to have visitors come to us and eat and just hang around. Our house, our subdivision, it's again, they're all they are made of concrete. Most of the people here are professionals. Kids are going to school, and nearby is a lot of schools, and my kids go there by it's very near, like it's just across our subdivision. So I don't have problems sending them to school or fetching them from school. So after preparing breakfast for them and all their snacks, they're off to go. And so I start my day at 8 a.m. and ends at about 4 p.m. when the kids are coming back. So at home, mostly I'm alone because my husband is working. So I sort of juggle household chores and my work, but it's not that struggle because it's okay. We don't have visitors all the time. Like, it's fine if it's whatever the setting at home is. So yeah, it's cool, and that's why I love just working from home, because it's like I have already an office, but I don't go to commute or go through transportation or what. So so that's the general setup.
Yeah, nice. So I guess that leads to the question. So what inspired you in the first place to become a VA? What were you doing before you made that decision, and then why?
So okay, thanks. So I was a traveler before I became a VA, because I was a customer service officer. But then because it has a lot of traveling, I had my second child. I was pregnant with my second child. So I cannot travel that much anymore. But then I'm not the type that I just wait until I get um, wait for the time to give birth. So what I did was really look for a job online where I can keep myself still busy. So this time it's not going to be traveling, but still working. So that's when I started looking for opportunities online. And at that time, 2007, um, it was sort of just whatever comes in, and I was learning. I learned WordPress, and at that time, it was the social media marketing is starting. So there's Facebook marketing, Twitter, and so I started SEO was the first time. Was the first task that I had, and writing. So because I've seen this opportunity and still being able to be with my family, that's when I started, building a career as a VA. And from then on, I couldn't imagine going to the office anymore. So I'm here until this time. And of course, I've met you, Kristy, back in 2008 or 2010. Oh, no, yeah,
10.
that's 2010. So, and I have this opportunity from you just starting as with a few hours, and then it became bigger and it became full time. And then we started deciding, okay, let's create this company. So, well, I'm here.
Yeah.
That.
It's amazing, isn't it? How just everything has evolved over time. It's really, and it hasn't landed in our laps in one big piece. We've kind of slowly put it together over time. So what is it then? I mean, you've already talked a little bit about what you love about working from home and what you love. It gives you obviously the flexibility. What else is it? What else, should people know about working from home?
Yeah. Well, one of the things that makes it a good setting for working from home is that you need to sort of still manage your time. It doesn't mean that you're work from home you can just work whenever you want. So I still have like for 4 hours I'm going to sit down and work on this. So for 1 hour I need to be, if I'm outside, which that's the reason why we have this opportunity to go outside, because we're just working from home, we're not in the office. I have to think of within an hour I need to finish this while just sitting in a cafe, for example. So it's about, still there's time management. There's still because you still need to deliver. It doesn't mean that it's just a relaxing work. And I think one of the things that I've discovered about working from home is that it's not for everyone. Because there are expectations set by the clients, there's expectations set by the company that you're working with, and you cannot just do your own follow. There are still policies to follow, there's still expectations to meet, so there's still some output to be delivered. So you need to just do that, even if it seems like no boss is looking at your back, or there's no time. There's no timestamp or whatever. So you still need to feel that you're working, but still be able to balance the work at home. So if you're not able to do that, then that's not for you. So that's
absolutely. And it's very, I mean, you and I have both been doing this now for a long time, and it's very clear when people or VAs come into our circle, the ones that can and the ones that shouldn't be. Very quickly you determine whether that person is going to have those skills and be able to self-regulate, throughout their day. What do you love about working with Virtual Elves?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question, because I'm not the only one that's working for a very long time with Virtual Elves. And me personally, I would say it's because this is the company that cares. Like although we understand, and I keep telling this to the VAs, that there is no better person who would understand you than the one who's doing the same thing. So if you have struggles with your client, you have struggles with your time, you have struggles with your family, the people on Virtual Elves will be the one to first understand you, because they have the same work, we have the same routine probably in a day. So that's the reason why I keep working with Virtual Elves, and I love working with it, because it's like you belong.
Yeah.
you belong, you have the same mindset, you have the same understanding of what you're doing, you have the same passion, to please the clients. You
Mm.
have the same you just have you just belong to each other. And mostly we're women, although we're not limited. But if we see someone who is thinking the same way we do, that we have deliverables, we are expected to manage your time, etc., then it's where you belong. Then
Mm.
you get to love what you're doing, you get to love the time that you spend. So
I
yeah.
like that. I like that. It's almost a new slogan for us, for our VAs. We belong.
Yeah.
Well,
Right.
it's interesting because the other two girls that I've interviewed so far, both of them have said to me that V is my family, and it's like my
Right.
family. And I find that really interesting because I get many, many questions from our clients asking, if we have an office, for example, in the Philippines. And one of my biggest things is no, we don't. And I specifically don't have one for that reason, in that I want the flexibility. I want our VAs to have what we want. We as business owners, we actually want the flexibility as well. That's why we're hiring our VAs. Why would we want them to be locked up in an office when we are the ones that want the flexibility and freedom? So, I always say that I love how we've got VAs all over the Philippines. Most of them have never met each other, yet they feel like a family. And that's got a big part to do with you, Cherry, and with the way that you have grown and the way that you talk to the girls and you're available to them all the time. And from the very beginning, that was my vision. My vision was that we wouldn't be excluding anybody. They would always feel like they had someone to talk to. They would always feel like they had a place to come, and I think successfully we've done that, and it's the one endearing quality that the business has, for sure. I think that's great. So what about you then? What are your aspirations for the future? What are the things that you're looking forward to?
Yeah, so we talked about we have the same purpose. And it's really not just for ourselves, otherwise it won't be a purpose, like it's just us living. So one of the aspirations that I have in the future is that I'll be able to sort of really build virtual assistants in a way that they should be. If I was able to, if I were able to grow with the company for 8 years, then that's also what I want them to have. What is it in me that I was able to find long-term career? I mean, it's probably is common thinking that when you're working from home, it's just short-term. It's not going to be a career at all. It's just sort of part-time, and it's going to be just. But it's not. You can actually find a career here for long term.
Yeah.
As long as you have these qualities. So that's what I want. That's what I want for the VAs or the aspiring VAs to have. And so one of the steps, of course, is for part of the plan. And I'm glad, Kristy, that you're so supportive when it comes to really doing what is best for the VAs in terms of how do I reach out to them. And you just approve of it. You just plan with me about
But I
it.
have
So
to, because if that part isn't right, nothing else works.
yeah, that's true. So yeah, that's what is going to happen in the future, for me to reach out to the VAs and to make them successful as I have been.
Yeah,
So just
lovely.
sort of, go just handing over what you've learned all throughout these years.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I love that. And what is something that you want people to know about you?
Well, I have a lot of dreams because I have a lot of talents. I mean, I do still want to play sports like I did when I was in my younger years. I still want to dance and choreograph, um, and of course, that's one of the interesting and that I love about myself is that I'm ambidextrous. I
Yep.
can write with my right and my left, and I have strength in my left hand. And uh, yeah, so I love to do some extracurricular activities rather than just, it's not just for work.
Mm.
So yeah,
So
sports,
important.
yeah, and also just helping out in charities and foundations. I
Mm.
love helping out. It's like, again, it's one way of just breaking free from me, myself, and I.
Yeah.
So it's just reaching out to people, um, trying to help as much as I can. So I think that's it.
Mm. You're a busy girl.
Yes, I think I am,
There's
because there's a
always
lot of things
something.
in my mind.
I know, and every time I talk to you, there's a new talent that I find out about you. There's always something new. So, what is it
Yeah.
that gives you purpose every day then?
It's just about, I think right now, it's about the VAs.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how can I help them? If I remember a VA that I haven't reached out for a while, I go to her, and and I'm glad that our VAs are really responsive when I
Mm.
try to reach out to them. It's like, I feel like they need a mom every now and then,
Yeah, yeah.
even though they work independently. So it's really just thinking. Sometimes I think about, how's this VA, how's she working, and if I know that there's issue at on that day, for the next day, I'm thinking of how can we resolve it. So
Yeah.
that's what occupies my mind every day. It's all about the VAs, all about the work, their struggles with their clients. So it's
Mm.
just a part of me already. And if I if I get tired of all that, because it's like having a lot of children,
Yeah.
that's when I thought of relaxing. But as you can see, it's rarely that I do that. I mean, I never took a leave for I don't know how many, but because they're just part of me.
Yeah. And
Part
how lucky are they that that's the way that you think and the way that you feel. And I think that's what I love so much about having you as part of Virtual Elves, is that this is not just a job for you.
yeah,
And, it never has been, which, I've been very, very lucky that I found you, because there's not many people like you that actually take something like this and allow it to be more than just a job.
yeah,
And I guess that's because you and I both, we think very similarly. We have very, very similar values. We have similar goals and directions. And I think that has allowed us, well, it's certainly allowed me to give you carte blanche really on how you want to run it and how you want to build that, from the VA side of things. Because I think had I micromanaged, or had I tried to dictate everything, then your creativity and you as a person wouldn't have been able to come out, and it probably would have just become a job. It wouldn't have been something that you were able to create and flourish within. So pat on the back for me for letting you letting you
yeah.
be
That's
creative and
right.
letting you
Yeah,
be who you are, because that's what really makes the business. It's a bit of a yin and yang really for us, that
yeah,
I can
right.
look after this part, but you've got this part. I love that.
Yeah.
So you've talked a little bit about how you achieve that work-life blend. And for those that haven't seen any other videos, we call it a blend because it's never a balance. It's always just mishmashed with each other.
Right.
I never
Right.
find that, 1 minute I'm totally focused on work, the next minute I'm totally focused on my family. It kind of is all in here and working its way through each other. So how do you manage that?
I'm really. I think one of the things that I just observe about myself is just I really am good at managing time. I understand that it's 24 hours a day and it's fixed. It's not going to be 25 or 26. So I can do much in a day only. So it means that I need to, like for me, I can do a lot in 5 minutes.
Mm.
I can do a lot in this time in 15 minutes. So while I'm doing laundry, it's on the washing machine. You can still sit down and do something and not wait on it. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yeah.
So it's really managing time. I think that's one of the strengths that every VA should have, and
Mm.
be able to understand the importance or the value of each minute that you give every day. So what are you doing in 5 minutes? What are you doing in an hour? So like, are you just staring at a blank space for like an hour
Yeah.
and not do something about it? I mean, I have the time to think, but I think the thing is that when I think, I try to really look at it if it's practical, you know. So that's how I blend in my work and my life, and just be able to manage everything.
So expanding on that even further, the last question that I have for you is around what advice would you give to other VAs to help them, or even, you know, someone who might be considering becoming a VA, or is a VA but isn't really doing anything long term with it. They're kind of just doing bits and pieces. What would you say to them to encourage them and to tell them that it's such a great career?
Yeah, okay. First, I understand that it's not for everyone. If you are able to really deliver while you're working from home, then that's for you. Because if you can't, and you say, how would I be able to please the clients if she can't see me? How would I be able to learn these online tools if I'm not that creative or I'm not that savvy? So you need to have certain skills or characteristics, or maybe even ability within you, that you'll be able to please someone that is not beside you. So if you want to succeed in this career, you need to understand that it's work. It's not just a gig, and it's not just something that you want to gain from. You need to give. So just give and please. So those are the core values that we build in the company. Why you need to have those core values, because you need to be able to make this career successful. I mean, make this work successful. So yes, that's it. Just be able to have the certain skills, characteristics, and the ability to do that. I think.
Good
So
advice.
how? Well, you just learn, and be able to learn more. Just probably subscribe to Virtual Elves.
Yeah,
And learn
exactly.
more.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, yeah, look, I agree with that, and I think it's great. And I mean, this whole interview, yes, is to get to know more about you and to have a chat. Really, it's to say thank you for the last the last 8 or so years, and just to let people know how important you are within our organisation, how important you are to me as the business owner as well. I've told you this before, that I don't consider you, a staff member as such. I consider you a business partner, because we are working together to make this a better company. And I want to thank you for that, because 8 years is a really long time to be loyal to somebody, but it's also a long time to be constantly reinventing and coming up with new ideas and thinking of ways to improve. And I actually think every year we do that. Every year we come up with better ideas. We're constantly growing. We're constantly thinking of ways to improve. And I think if I can say one thing about you, you're always thinking about new ways to improve, or ways to either, gain more knowledge for yourself, do things that will enhance, the outcome for the VAs and the experience for our clients. And so for that, I thank you very much. I couldn't do it without you. No, but I couldn't do it without you, and I wouldn't imagine this business without you either. And I think that's what makes it work so well. So everybody needs to know that. Any final words that you want to say before we go?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you back. And I would say welcome, but thank you back for the freedom that you have given, like, and all the way also how you look at me, that I'm not just a staff, but a partner, that we work together. So it's a freedom for me, because it's not always that a boss has that kind of mindset. So yeah, thank you. And it's a partnership. And it's a partnership, because you're doing that to me, I'm doing this back to you. And I think that's the relationship that clients and VAs need to have.
Yeah.
Like, they need to trust each other, they need to work, make whatever the purpose works.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I totally agree. I totally agree. So we're setting a good example.
yeah, that's right.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much. It's been absolutely fabulous having you here, and yeah, let's. I'm looking forward to all of the other anniversary videos that we'll be doing, and
Yeah,
looking forward to what you're going to create next year as well with your own education.
yeah. Okay, thank you so much,
Good.
Chrissy.
Thanks,
Okay, bye bye.
Cherry. Bye, everybody.
Bye.